Hey everybody, welcome back to the Local Pour. Today we're on site at Whiskey Thief in Lawrenceburg. Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Got James with us, got Walt, the owner. You want to tell us a little bit about how you got started at Whiskey Thief?
Yeah, so, boy, it's a long story. How much time we got?
As much as you want.
So I had spent time in technology, different things, whatever, but I've always been a bourbon fan.
Yeah.
And decided to get in the business. This was about 10 years ago. Wow. Started a little company, basically helping people start brands. So I was buying barrels. If I have one claim to fame, it was that I convinced some of the brokers in Kentucky to be able to sell small quantities of barrels. At that time, you had to buy thousands at a time, or 500 or more at a time. And I convinced this one broker finally to sell me, like 20 barrels. So I needed a place to store them and do my bottling and all that. And I met the guy who built what at that point was called Three Boys Farm Distillery, which is where we are today. Yeah. And so I became a kind of bottling customer for him. So I was a commercial customer for him. So I was storing my barrels here, doing bottling. And I said it was a long story, so I'll try to make it short. But COVID, this place really relies very heavily on tourism, and COVID nearly, wiped that out. Oh, yeah. Well, it did wipe it out in Kentucky. Pretty much all that was shut down, and this place was almost a casualty, except for myself and 2 or 3 other kind of brands that were doing our bottling and storing here. Yeah. Anyway, one day, sort of after COVID, I was working down here, and the former owner said, hey, you got time to drink a little bourbon? And you always say yes to him, because usually it was going to be something pretty good, because he didn't drink bad bourbon. And so we went out back and we sat down, and he started, it was actually rye whiskey, and poured some out, and we started drinking. And he goes, I think most days you like this place better than I do. And I said, really? I do like it out here. We're on 127 acres. What you can't see is it's 127 acres farmland. It's as Kentucky as you get, pretty much. Yeah. And so I said, well, I do like it. And he said, well, I'm ready to retire. His 3 sons, which were hence the name Three Boys, had no interest in pursuing the business. And he is originally from Louisiana. And he's like, I'm ready to retire, move to New Orleans, and get out of this craziness. So I said, I don't know, Ross. I'm not sure I'm ready to buy the place, buy a business and buy the place. Yeah. Then we drank a whole lot more of that rye whiskey, and as we got further and further down through the bottle, I think I got a little more courage. He sweetened the deal a little bit, was willing to owner finance it and do a little some stuff and help make it happen. And I don't think we finished the bottle, but somewhere in the lower quarter of it, we had a handshake deal. So then it was getting home and selling my wife on it. And that didn't take any bourbon at all, actually. She was very supportive, and about 6 months later we closed, and that was early 2021. So I've been the owner now for 5 years.
That's cool. Yeah, some of those deals with bourbon and whiskey, they happen very quickly. Yeah,
usually cards or drinking.
Yeah. I have this issue. I got this issue with having to sell my wife on things, because I end up going to buy a new truck or order a new truck and don't tell her about it, and then when it comes in 6 months, I got to tell her about it.
There you go.
So I haven't learned my lesson yet.
So I could have bought the distillery and waited to tell her. That's
easier that way. But I bought the color that I knew she'd like, and she fell in love with it, so we bought it. So
awesome.
I got away with it. But anyway, so what did it start out? Did you have 1 barn, 2 barns?
Yeah. So we had the still house over there that is where we make the bourbon. Our stills there, fermenters, cookers, all the stuff, as well as kind of our tasting experiences in that barn. And then I think the second year, I think in 2022, I believe, we built the building we're in, which is our first barrel warehouse. It'll hold about 4,300 barrels. Wow. We're starting to kind of get full a little bit. We do also do contract storage for small brands. So up the hill over that way, there's a white barn where we do all of our own bottling, but we also continue to do contract bottling for really smaller brands. And so, if you're a small brand, you can come and store your barrels here. And then as you want to bottle them, you can come down here and taste them, see if you like them. And then all we got to do is take them right up there and bottle them and get them out the door for you. So there is some of this. While it looks like a lot, some of it's contract storage.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, it looks like there's more in here than there was in February when I was here.
Yeah, so for sure.
When I walked in, I was like, wow, they got a lot of bourbon in here. I forgot that somebody mentioned to me that the contracting thing. I forgot what his name is. The country singer guy that works here.
Oh, Shannon Lawson.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He was really nice to us. That was one of part of our experiences here. Was he was so nice to us, and
that's great.
He'd sit there and talk to us about life and stuff, and we just had a good time. My wife was like, "We're going back there every time we go to Kentucky."
Nice.
So we ended up. I planned this trip. Well, it come out of pocket. I was just like, "We're going to start hitting the road, go places." So 2 weeks ago, we were in North Carolina. We went to Southern Grace Distilleries, which is called, it's a whiskey prison. It's a 1920s prison.
Oh, wow.
They turned into a distillery. Well, their fermenting is in 55-gallon drums like that, plastic drums. And they do it all like that,
wow.
Moonshine, steel looking type stuff. That's how they do all their stuff. And I was like, we need to go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And so at first, I'm self-employed, so it's a little easier for me to leave. He has a job, and he's really kind of like the cameraman. He comes and learns about bourbon and works the camera. But
it's a good gig.
I was like, I called one other guy, the guy that does our video at home. I called him. I was like, hey, you want to go to Kentucky? I can't go. And I was like, all right, well, I called the other guy. I can't go. And I was like, this is my brother-in-law. I'm sure I can get him to go.
Right.
At first it was just going to be me coming up here doing everything. And I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, I can, but I can't. I'd like push the button, run around here and get on the camera.
Right.
So we ended up planning a few of them, and it worked out. And we came up here and got we had 4 places to go. We ended up with 3. And we staying right downtown Louisville, right next door to Michter's and all that on the Airbnb.
Right.
So we're going tomorrow. We got no distilleries. We're just going to walk around and check everything out.
We have a place in Louisville too.
Yeah, we're going to
I
there.
saw that.
We're going
I saw that.
Yeah.
So basically, does the farm basically feed into this?
Yeah, so 127 acre farm. And if we're outside, I can show you kind of how far. We plant about 20-ish acres of corn.
Okay.
That we use in our bourbons and whiskeys. We use more corn than what we can grow, so we'll.
Then you sell it off to others.
We don't farm it ourselves. I have a farmer that comes in and farms it, and then I'll either buy corn from him or kind of neighboring farmers. So kind of all the corn is at least coming from. You said Lawrenceburg earlier. We're really in Franklin County, which is, I think we're probably a little bit maybe even closer to Frankfort than we are Lawrenceburg, but we're right in the middle of it. Yeah. And so we grow our own corn. We use it in our bourbon, and so it is a working farm as well. There's cows over there, but they're not our cows. But the neighbor is a farmer. And
basically leasing the land out.
We love the cows. Yep. And it means you don't have to mow and stuff like that.
Smart.
And then we've got a couple of goats running around, and anyway, it's fun.
That's one of y'all I've heard on videos and posts and everything. Got to go see the goats. Got to go see the goats.
That's right. Yeah.
And I don't think they were out here in February when we were here. But,
they might have been. They were here, but they were cold.
Yeah. I talked to Deborah on the phone, and she's like, "The goats will be there. The goats will be there." So I'm gonna get some video.
We'll have to go see the goats. Yeah.
Yeah. So is everything in the tasting area? Is it all hand thieving?
Yes. So that's our shtick. Is you come. So this is a Whiskey Thief for people who don't know. It's a copper tube that allows you to taste whiskey straight out of the barrel. Distillers have been using a tool like this since people have been making whiskey, because otherwise, how do you get in this thing to taste it without doing something? So it acts like a big soda straw kind of thing you used to do when you were a kid. You just put it out in the whiskey, put your thumb over it, creates a little suction. You can pull it out, put it in your glass. And so when I first got into this industry about 10 years ago, I was invited to go on a barrel pick at Four Roses, and even though I had been a bourbon fan for a really long time and kind of was one of those guys that would camp out and wait for bottles and do stuff, I got invited to this thing. And, at that time, and still really is true today, the only really way you can go on these barrel picks, they do open some of it to consumers, but the majority of it is
you got to know somebody.
Wholesalers and retailers, right? They're selling those barrels into liquor stores through their distributors. And so anyway, we went to Four Roses, and Al Young was leading the tasting. If you don't know who Al Young was, a famous guy at Four Roses, had been with the company for 50 plus years and had done everything. It was just he was like an ambassador for them, but he came up through the ranks of actually making whiskey and doing all this stuff. I think he had done every job there, and he was a super nice guy. He has since passed away. It was a big loss for bourbon, but he was doing the barrel pick, and there were a number of barrels, and we were thieving right out of the barrel, tasting straight out of the barrel the way nature intended. Not foolproof, uncut, unfiltered, and that's how we were selecting the barrel. And I thought this is the single coolest experience that humans can have. If you're a bourbon fan, like, it doesn't get any cooler than this. And so Ross was doing a similar thing. He would have barrels, but he would bring people in and he would pull samples out of the ones that he wanted you to taste and let you taste from them. But we took it one step further, where we bring people down. There's 5 barrels lined out there, and we let you taste 5 barrels. Currently, one of them is a wheated bourbon. We have 3 traditional rye bourbons, and then a rye whiskey. So you kind of finish with the rye whiskey. You taste out of those 5 barrels, and if you fall in love with any of them, then you can use a Whiskey Thief just like this and fill your own bottle. We let you label it and take it home. And it's cool because barrels are always while the whiskey is in the barrel, it's always maturing and it's always changing up in flavor. And the former owner told me this when I first started coming down here, and I didn't really believe him, but he was like, oh yeah, barrels go through upturns and downturns, and honestly, the whiskey can change within a couple days sometimes, depending on what the weather is in Kentucky. And that's one of the reasons why Kentucky bourbon is Kentucky bourbon, because we get so much variability in weather. It can be hot, cold, and every time it's doing that,
it makes
it's really aging that whiskey, right? So with the bottle you're going to taste that day, you could come back 2 weeks. Like first of all, the barrel's probably not here that was here in February, but if it was here and there was one that you particularly loved, you would taste from it today, it probably wouldn't taste anything like what you got in February.
No, probably
not. And sometimes that can even be a week later. So people come back and, barrel 3, I got to get another bottle of that. I'm like, well, you should taste it first, because it may or may not be what you remember. They don't usually go bad or anything, but they'll get better, and then they definitely have upturns and downturns. And so you put 5 out, there's something for everybody. The other thing is, people don't taste this, they don't necessarily all like the same things. So some people actually appreciate a little bit more of a what I call bitterness to it, and some people want something more sweet, etc. So we hope there's something for everybody.
Like my dad, he likes stuff that's more like almost like peppery.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're putting in the bottle is uncut and unfiltered at barrel strength.
Comes with char.
It comes with char. Yeah, we call it a Kentucky snow globe. So there's a little char in there. You can see it dropping down there. So it's about as authentic as you're going to get.
Yeah,
that's what sold me to come here. So we did a podcast with a guy that lives in our town that's into bourbon, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of Whiskey Thief?" on the podcast, and I was like, "No, I don't think I have." And I've been to Kentucky. I've done distilleries, and he's like, "You need to go try it. You get to bottle your own bottle straight out of the barrel and all this."
Yeah.
So I told my wife, she goes, "We're going." I was like, "Okay."
There you go.
So we planned it, and I have my bottle at home that same size, and you can ask them. I've said a couple of times, I said, I don't want to open that bottle because I'm never going to get that bottle again.
Yeah.
Should we be tasting a little bourbon?
We can.
We can if you want to.
So here, let me just show you the whole thief thing real fast, right over here. So we got this barrel open. I don't even really know what this is 100%, but we're going to enjoy it anyway. It's 120.5 proof, 75, 15, 10. 75% corn, 15% rye, 10% malted barley. So right there, a little bourbon in the thief. Oh, this thief isn't cooperative. Hold on a second. We got a technical difficulty. Let's try it again here. Let's let it fill up for a second. Maybe this could be empty, a barrel. I don't know. There'll be a little bit to get a taste, probably. Oh, come on. Okay. Caitlin, would you grab that big thief back there in the back? We might need a replacement thief. We got some technical difficulties here. Looks like someone has
He may have got up inside the char in there.
Yeah, it might be char. We'll get it here in a second. But anyway, so this is kind of the shtick. Now, there's other people who are starting to do this.
Yeah.
And lots of people are starting to do it, but we're still the only place that allows that this is our thing, that we allow everybody to taste 5 barrels, and it's part of the normal experience. It's not some fancy expensive experience, and those guys really kind of started doing it because we were doing it.
Yeah, should have trademarked
for
it.
being honest.
Hi.
But I didn't invent thieving, but but it is the name of our company, and it's the centerpiece of what we do. This is an extra long thief when you have like a top bung barrel.
And it's really not as easy as it looks to do it, because when I was filling my bottle, I was like, man, am I ever going to fill this bottle up?
Do you a little more?
Oh, yeah.
You guys good?
I'm good on mine.
Man, I think this barrel must be kind of low. Let's see. But anyway,
That's good.
yeah, we got enough to get a taste here, right? It's still early in the day anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody good?
The place yesterday at 9:45, they had 3 tastings set out for us before we started the thing. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, wow, this is great breakfast.
Well, you can't call it day drinking if you don't start early.
Yeah, start early, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
So, and then we do the exact same thing at our Louisville location. So we got 5 barrels there. The difference in our Louisville location, we've been open there for about 18 months. It's in a place called Nulu, which is kind of a revitalized area of Louisville downtown. We're really close to, we're basically between Rabbit Hole and Angel's Envy. And, but we do the same thing. We also have a kind of a heightened cocktail experience there, and then a bunch of live music.
That's cool. So you guys do live music here on Fridays?
Fridays and Saturdays, yep.
Okay.
And then we operate a food truck. Our food is awesome. I don't know, you guys have to eat before you leave.
Yeah, we're going to, yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm the owner. I'm telling you that because literally we shut the food down Thanksgiving and reopen in March. And I was like the first one here on St. Patrick's Day ready for a hamburger because we have this hamburger that's ridiculous.
Hey.
So where do y'all distribute to multiple states, or how is what's the?
You got to come here. We do not distribute. That's another weird thing about Whiskey Thief, which is why most people probably haven't heard about us. They haven't seen us sitting on a shelf somewhere. Okay. So you got to come here. We've got some online
it's
stuff.
Worth the experience.
You can buy online now. We recently just sort of added some online sales not that long ago because people were just begging me to do it. And but yeah, the predominant way to buy it is to come here. We sell it here. We also sell it in our location in Louisville.
Okay. Is it, if you don't mind me asking, is it just because regulations, or is it just you want people to experience it?
I think it's more.
It's more about the experience. Okay. I don't really know. So it's a differentiated product, meaning the bottles are all different, the batches are all different, the barrels are all different. I've not really figured out a good way to people have done that. There's some out there, but how do you get out there, tell people what they're expecting, be on a retail shelf and have it tell enough story that people go, oh, I see why I'd want to buy that one versus that one.
Okay.
I don't know if we figured it out, to be honest with you. So we do have a bottled and bond product that is pretty consistent batch to batch. It's still a single barrel, but it's consistent. We proof it down to 100 to be bottled and bond, obviously. We do some gens. They're very consistent. But yeah, we kind of want to keep the bourbon sort of a singular thing. Okay. Yep.
I feel like if you're gonna get it straight out of the barrel here, it's not like with the char and everything. Yeah. To me, that was an experience that we liked so much when we were here. That and the bourbon slushies. Tell us a little bit about the bourbon slushies.
Bourbon slushies are ridiculous. So we had found this recipe. Actually, my wife and I had found it on a Kentucky sports podcast thing, and they put out this thing, and it was about Derby time. I found this recipe, and so whenever we'd have a party at our house, 4th of July and Derby time, we'd always make these bourbon slushies, and everybody always loved them. Not slushies, just we called them bourbon lemonade. So it's basically tea, bourbon, lots of bourbon, lemonade, limeade, and some water, and then and so you mix all that together, and they're pretty dangerous. They'll sneak up on you. But I thought, I wonder if you put that in a slushy machine, if it would freeze, because sometimes if it doesn't have the right sugar content and stuff, it won't freeze. So it did, and we started doing them out here for some event, and we couldn't sell enough of them, or we couldn't make enough of them. Really, we could sell we couldn't make enough of them. That's what I'm trying to say. So we got a second machine, and anyway, and it's become a big deal, especially because you're out here. Unlike a lot of the distilleries, there's really no air conditioning anywhere in these barns. Nope. And so when you get into July and August, it can be a
warm
little
out here.
warm, and that slushy kind of cools you down pretty well.
Yeah, I have one of those new Ninja slushy machines.
Oh,
My
yeah.
wife's like, you got to figure out how to make these slushies. You have to figure this out.
Okay, well, I'll give you a little secret.
Okay.
It's published. It's out there.
Okay.
It's on. If you go to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail website and look on our page, it's. I believe it used to be there. If not, I'll send it to you. But and if somebody has the old little Bourbon Trail book from before they stopped doing them, when Whiskey Thief was in there, we published it in there as well. So we're happy to share the recipe.
Yeah,
So.
we make all kind of stuff in that slushy machine. My kids, they'll be like, let's make a Coke slushy, let's make a juice slushy. And I got a 2, 4, and 12-year-old. And
There you go.
it's always a slushy. I'll come into the house and I'll look at it's sitting on my bar, and I'm like, what are you making today? And she's like, the kids wanted a sweet tea slushy or something. I'm like, whatever. All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's grape juice or something. It's weird. But I kind of fell in love with that. I drink Busch Light, which is crazy because everybody's like, that's cheap beer, it's nasty, but it's whatever. They made that Busch Light apple.
Oh yeah.
And I've been trying to figure out how to make a Busch Light apple slushy.
Oh, there
and
you
I
go.
think that it's going to be a hit. But if you take that Busch Light apple can and put a little bit of caramel on top of the rim, it tastes like a caramel dipped apple.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy how it
Wow.
works. But maybe
I gotta
just
try that.
an idiot. I don't know. But it's good. So
I'm gonna try that. That sounds awesome.
what do you think about it?
I like it.
It's
It's almost got like a sweet flavor to it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good barrel. I don't know what it is, but it's.
So I wasn't a rye guy at all.
Yep.
Like I steered completely away. I got 129 bottles on my bar at home of different stuff, and came here and tasted the ryes and stuff, and now I'm buying ryes. So, but it's not the same, and that's like I said, I'm gonna have to buy another bottle while I'm here because I don't want to open the bottle I got at home because it's not gonna be the same thing.
Yeah,
then
right.
I'm probably gonna take that one home and be like, I don't want to open that one. You know,
Because it's not gonna
not
be-
gonna get
yeah,
that
you
one
won't get
again.
one.
And I have, it's allocated stuff, and you can ask them. We'll sit there at my bar and have drinks and stuff, and I'm like, they're like, what's that one on the top shelf? We're not opening that one,
Yeah.
We're not opening this one. We're not opening this one. So it's
We just remodeled our basement, and that's kind of where, we had a little kitchenette down there, and as we were moving everything out before they put it in the new kitchen, my wife kept going, "What's this bottle? What?" I'm like, "Oh, we can't drink that one.
Yeah,
Oh, we
just
can't
don't
drink that
yeah.
one." Like, oh, that's a birthday bourbon. Can't have that one. Like,
Don't
we're not opening that
hold
one.
on. Yeah.
So, yeah, I know. I've got the same
Everybody-
problem.
And
Same
everybody's
problem.
like, why do you buy bourbon if you're not going to drink it? And I'm like, well, I bought this bottle for $75
Yeah.
and it's worth $4,000
Exactly.
online. So that's why I'm not going to open it.
Exactly.
I've been getting a few of those old Jim Beam bottles and the decanters, like the 79, 80 models.
Yep.
And stuff. We popped one open the other day and it was really good.
I did break some of those kind of ones that you don't think you're going to drink open during COVID. I kind of broke down with a couple of them, and I was like, all right,
I gotta do it.
today's day for a little stag, or a little whatever. So.
Yeah, one of my favorites is that Little Book.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what it is about that one, but that's my favorite. So anyway, what is your lowest proof that you average on your bourbon?
We've had a couple barrels. So, you probably know this, but so first of all, you can't go in any higher than 125 proof.
Right.
Now, I was not here, some of our 6, 7, 8 year stuff that you'll see, whatever, I wasn't here when it was being made.
Yeah.
So, and I would love to tell you that, and I hope the TTB is not listening to this, but that I'd love to tell you that the former owner was really diligent about record keeping in terms of entry proof and all that. But it was kind of whatever it was coming out of the still, as long as it was under 125, that's what he'd go in the barrel in. So I kind of know, like I think we said this one was 110. I think he liked being in kind of the 110 zone. But as these barrels age, sometimes they can go up in proof and they can go down in proof. If the alcohol evaporates faster than the water, the proof goes down. If the water evaporates faster than the alcohol, then the proof goes up, right? And everybody knows like the hazmat stuff that comes from the top of brick houses at Buffalo Trace and Stag Juniors and all that stuff. But so we've had some stuff that I think has dipped below 100 on its own, just sort of naturally. But if it is, then we're going to serve it that way, and we're not, but usually we're at about 110, 113, 108.
Okay.
We kind of tend to fall in that category. The other thing that changed radically in the industry, and it's starting to change back now, is the entry proofs during COVID and after COVID got higher because the price of cooperage got really, really high. So distillers were like, why would I, with the cost of barrels being high, I'm not gonna add any water or as little as possible because I really don't want more volume because I want to get as much whiskey into one barrel as I possibly can. And so you'll see that there were, and I don't know if these things have really started like landing on shelves yet, but I anticipate you'll see on barrel strength stuff, things will go a little higher because cooperage was so expensive. But you know, a lot of these bigger brands too, they'll target an entry proof of 110, something like that. But during those COVID years, they were going in hotter than that. So it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. But our still, everything we do is on a pot still, 1,200 gallon pot still. We can only make about 1,000 barrels a year. And so sometimes it's, you know, even though we've got a new distiller here, our director of distilling, her name's Lisa Wicker. She's awesome. She's been a longtime industry person. She kind of came up through the ranks through Starlight in Indiana, and Limestone Trace, Limestone, what is it? Limestone Trace, yeah, I think that's it, where they make Yellowstone.
Okay.
And anyway, various places, and she's awesome. Widow Jane. And so she's joined us recently. So she's brought a tremendous amount of industry knowledge with her and distilling science and knowledge. And so our cooks right now and our distillations are probably more consistent than they've ever been. And so she's really, I'm telling you, the white dog that we're putting away right now, you know, you're going to want to come here in 4, 5, 6 years because the whiskey I think is going to be exceptional.
Phenomenal,
so, I mean,
it's already good.
I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
Do you get your barrels locally, or you use the same people?
We do. We traditionally have used Kelvin Cooperage in Louisville, which we like them a lot. They do a separate char from their toast, so they char the barrel first, then they come back and toast it. We've used them a lot. We're starting to use Speyside, and during kind of after COVID, we started buying some West Virginia barrels at West Virginia Barrel Company because we could get them. Like I said, barrels became really hard to get. And there's one more, Zach Cooperage. We've just started talking to Zach and using them. They have a really nice product, and a lot of their wood is they yard season it for a really long time, so you can get some really good old oak that is just, anytime you do that stuff, it just accentuates the flavor.
Yeah. There was another question I had. I just lost it. What you got? Anything?
Off the top of my head.
Do you guys do special events here besides like your Friday, Saturday thing, or do
We
you?
do. We do a lot of private events for people. Sometimes they want to do it while the place is open. But they'll come out with a group and they'll want to have, you know, a catered lunch out here, even though, especially on days where our food truck's not open. Our food truck's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, but we also do, and we do the music, as we mentioned. In the fall, we have a thing called Whiskey Thief Fest, which is, this year is going to be 2 days of music. So it's kind of like a small festival, no camping or anything weird like that. But last year we had a guy named Michael Cleveland, who's kind of a famous bluegrass violinist, play. And or fiddle, I guess it's not violin, it's fiddle at that point. So yeah, we do that, and some people are getting married here this year. So we've had some weddings, we've had some engagement parties.
Cool.
So yeah, we do all kinds of stuff.
So when is that fall event going to be?
It's going to be October 9th and 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get through. September is so focused on, you know, September is Bourbon Heritage Month in Kentucky, and so it's the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, which we are a part of. Then there's a thing in Frankfurt called Bourbon on the Banks, which is another. If you've not been to those, you guys should come to both those. Bourbon on the Banks is a great event too. So that's all September, and then Bourbon Beyond, the big music show, is going on in Louisville at that time. And so September is kind of just packed out with bourbon stuff. So we kind of, even though that's our anniversary date as a distillery, we celebrate it in October because everything's died down a little bit. We've all sobered up from September, and
I got a friend of mine, that bourbon dude on YouTube, Charles. He called me the other day. He was like, "You need to come to Bourbon on the Banks. You need to come to Bourbon on the Banks." And I was like, "What is it?" And he was telling me about it. He's like, "You don't have to get the VIP." He's like, "It's just a great time, good footage you can get, and all this stuff, and meet people." And we did a bottle share in Louisville when I was here in February at the Grady lobby, and I bet we had 60 people in the lobby.
Oh, wow.
And like 110 bottles on the table.
Whoa.
So it was large, and a lot of YouTube people there, and it was really
That's
cool.
awesome.
And everybody's, I'm wearing one of my shirts, and they're like, "Oh, we saw your podcast on YouTube. We watched the episode. Did your wife get that garden yet you were talking about?"
That's
and I'm
so cool.
like, I don't even know this guy. He's over here talking to me and stuff. So it was a good time. But
That's great.
I've been it's a little bit of a drive. It's 7 hours up here for us, but there's nothing else. I'd rather come here than go to the beach on vacation.
Yeah.
Come to my wife. She's big into bourbon, and she's
Well, we have a big kickoff event. Typically, I think it's the Thursday night before Bourbon on the Banks. So I assume we're doing that again this year, which is Bourbon on the Banks. We do a thing with them on Thursday night, a big kickoff event. We have some special barrels. Usually, that's when we roll out. The month of October is our anniversary, so we get some special older barrels. We kind of go deep into the stacks over here and find something. So we usually have an anniversary rye and anniversary bourbon, and so special labels made and all that kind of stuff. And so we kick that off right before Bourbon on the Banks, Thursday before Bourbon on the Banks. And then the Bourbon on the Banks always does a special bottle with us. And if you guys are coming, try to come up to our party on Thursday night before Bourbon on the Banks. It's fun. Bourbon on the Banks is great.
Oh yeah. Everybody, all my friends are like, "Why do you go all the way to Kentucky to drink bourbon? You have a lot of bourbon." I said, "It's different, man. It's not the same thing. You cannot do the same thing at home that you can do here.
That's right.
Or anywhere around here."
Exactly.
And I've gotten a few people interested. Like BJ, he's gotten into bourbon pretty deep, and he'll come over for podcasts and stuff, and he'll try some stuff that he's never had. And I have other people that come by, and they're like, "Give me 4 pieces of ice for it." And my wife and I, we're neat all the way. And she's over there 120 pounds, 5 foot tall, and she's drinking neat bourbon at 125 proof. And these guys that are my size or bigger are like, "How is she doing that? Give me some ice, give me some water," And it's great. It's a good time. But
it's awesome.
If you,
well, it takes practice. That high proof whiskey, neat, takes, fortunately I get a fair amount of it here.
Yeah. Her go-to is Basil Hayden. That's
nice.
her girl bourbon's what she calls it.
Got it.
So easy to get, cheap. I say cheap. It's
good.
fair.
And it's good.
We got almost the whole collection for her. We've been all over getting it. We picked up a bottle in California, the Green Label bottle in California.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we've searched for. We got like 2 more bottles to get, and we'll have the whole collection.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's like my 1792. I got 2 more bottles to get of that, and I'll have the whole collection.
Nice.
So I'm not I haven't tried to collect anything else other than those 2, but.
Well, I'm right there with you. And some people, I've had people tell me like, there's not a lot of distillery owners that talk about all the other stuff that they like. Usually it's like their
stuff.
They just drink their, and so, but I got into this business because I was a fan first. And so I'm still like, right now I picked up recently the 1792 full proof, and that's been my thing lately. I just think it's awesome. And Old Granddad 114 is just a great one for me.
We had that one in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It was in the Antique Bourbon Bar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the old one or whatever. It was.
Well, and then you can get now, in Kentucky, you can get Old Granddad 114 at Costco for less than $30. And it's awesome. And it's high proof.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's a lot out there, but this is unique. I will say that to anybody that's watching this. Make sure y'all come up here and check this out. So where can people find you at? What social medias, website?
WhiskeyThief.com, and then I should know the social stuff better than I do, but most of them are Whiskey Thief KY, I think, is for Kentucky.
I know it's Instagram.
There was, on Instagram. I don't think we have much of a Twitter presence. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook. But and then just our website has all the details about events that are going on and all that kind of stuff.
We'll add some links to this video on YouTube.
And we do barrel picks, I should mention.
That's what I was going to ask a minute ago.
I knew that somehow.
Tell me about the barrel picks.
Yeah, we do barrel picks. We work with people, and you can go on our website. There's a little form you can fill out. And Hannah, who works here, if people look around on social media, you're going to find Hannah on our social media a lot because she's a very outgoing person, and she used to do a lot of our social media anyway. And she runs that whole program. She's awesome. And you come in and you tell us what you're looking for, and we'll find it. Sometimes we'll source barrels for that project, okay. And because we can only make what we can make. Yeah. So sometimes people will say, I want something really older than we are, and so we'll go out and try to find it. We've got some really good relationships with brokers in that regard, and like I said, that was kind of my specialty, was getting these brokers to sell me small quantities of things. And so we'll bring it in. You can come here, bring your family, friends, buddies, whatever. Back in the back of this barn, we've got a table. We do basically what I experienced at Four Roses all those years ago. We lay the barrels out. You taste right out of the barrel. You think about it, and then what's something we do that a lot of places won't do is you can either do a Whiskey Thief bottle with this red, what is the red label on this one. You can kind of take over the design of it. Okay. So you can really, you don't just get a little sticker. You can take over the whole red label and do your own thing. You can take over the tack strip. Or if you really want to, it doesn't have to be Whiskey Thief at all. It could be your company name or your buddy's birthday party, whatever. And we'll submit it to the TTB. We'll get the COLA registry on it so it's legal and legit. And you can make your own kind of thing. Those aren't really scheduled. You can't really sell into retail because most people doing that don't have all the licenses and permits and everything to be able to sell into retail. But as a nice thing that you want to share with your buddies or commemorate a special event or whatever it is, we can do that too.
So what's the pricing on the barrel picks?
It depends on the age. So it could be $12 to $14 roughly, and don't quote me on this because I think this is right, but per year. So in other words, like if it was say it's a 5-year whiskey to make math easy, at $12 a year would be a $60 bottle. Yeah. And we don't charge you a bunch of extra stuff. It's pretty much we bake it all into that price of that bottle. There may be if you need something special, you say you want to do like a wax seal or something special, there might be something on top of that. If you don't have your own designer, we've got a great designer that we work with who can help you do all the design work and make sure it's compliant with the TTB and all those sorts of things. A little bit of a fee for that if you want it. But for the most part, we try to just bake all those costs into the thing. Okay. So.
And do you know how many bottles you can get out of a barrel on average?
It all depends on the age, but let's say that same 5-year that we were talking about would be about 200 bottles. Okay. If you get into let's say a 12-year, you're going to get maybe 110 bottles because that much has been lost to angel share over time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now that I could think of is
covered everything.
Yeah, we basically covered everything I could think of.
No, I'm just happy you guys thought of us to do this. I'm glad you started with you having a great time, you and your wife.
Yeah, I told you, man. We're definitely going. We'll come back. We're going to be back every time we're in Kentucky. So she went to school at UK.
Oh yeah.
And that was 2014 to I don't remember the years, but then she transferred down to Auburn. Well, I came up here a lot when she was at UK, and we were just getting into bourbon, like fresh.
Nice.
And we never even thought about going to Louisville for bourbon. We didn't go anywhere for bourbon. It was always just watch TV or go to the whatever horse race or whatever it was. Never even got. And we're like, we wasted so many weekends that we could have went and had bourbon every weekend somewhere.
Yep.
And now we're just 7 hours away, and it's a little bit harder with 3 kids. So, but we'll definitely plan some more trips. And like I said, I'm trying to get further into the on-site stuff. So,
well, good.
Might come up here and try to get some events and talk to some people.
And we're really. So they kind of call it for people who don't know, we kind of call it the Amber Triangle now. So it's the 3 corners of the triangle are Louisville, Bardstown, and then the third corner, I think it's Frankfort. Some people would say Lexington. Either way, Frankfort and Lexington are close enough. You're passing right by Frankfort to go to Lexington. So, we're on that one corner of the triangle, which also includes Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, Castle and Key, Four Roses isn't far, Woodford's not far. So there's a lot to do in these little corners, little corners of the triangle. So, but my advice, if you're coming out here, my advice is to make this your last stop of the day, especially on the weekend. First of all, it's a little bit like a party. Okay. People turn out. There's a lot of people having fun. We've got the music going. The whiskey's flowing pretty good. Yep. And it's a little bit more like a party. But then the second thing is I feel bad for the other distilleries who are on the receiving end of our guests who've been tasting out of 5 barrels at full proof, if you catch my drift. Because, invariably you get those 5 tastes and then you want to buy a pour or a cocktail or whatever. And then you show up at one of these places that's very like, okay, this is how you make bourbon. And they're like, they're ready to party, And so I always tell people, you want to finish here. And we close when the last person leaves. So if the weather's nice, you want to stay around and hang out and it's a fun deal. We've had a lot of people call their tour company and go, cancel everything else the rest of the day. I'm staying here, and so we'll do those other ones tomorrow or whatever. But
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
We're gonna go in there and have some pours after this and get some videos of that and try the food truck.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We appreciate you letting us do it,
Hey,
man.
thanks.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.